Hello, welcome guys to a new session. In the last session, we treated how to actually validate requests coming into our application. So what we'll be doing in this session is basically to create some methods that we'll be using to send out JSON requests out of our application. I am also going to create a method that we can reuse in the process of binding our request, because if you look at line 12, this is something we'll be using a lot in the application, and I won't want to keep rewriting this line over and over and over again, and which is why I am going to be creating a method that I can reuse. So I'm going to start with creating API response traits. So I'll call it API response. So for the API response, we are going to need some functions, and we are also going to need so to just start with, I'm going to create a type called API. Let me just call it API response. um API response. And our API response is basically, um, let me just, our API response is basically a map with string, because API response, the key will always be a string and the value can be anything, right? So this would be like what we'll be using to send out different things out of the application. So I'm going to also create a type for sending out success results. I'm also going to create a type for sending out failed validation, and I'm also going to create a type for sending out error. So let's create type success, and this would be a struct actually. JSON, let me just say JSON success. This would be a struct. And the JSON success will contain success as Boolean. It will also contain key, which is going to be a string, and JSON as key. Message. This will also be a message. Then we also need data if we will be sending any out at all, right? It also needs data. We don't know what our data will actually look like, so it's better for us to just call it interface, right? So it can be of any type. Then we also need, let me copy this, we also need JSON field validation, JSON field validation results. So this will be have success, it will have message, and it will have what we call errors. And the error type will now be the validation error type we created. Validation error type, this. So I'll just copy it, come to the common, say validation error type, and we should be able to, let me see if I can import it, unless just validation. Okay, that's good. We can import it, and this will be errors, right? So that's for JSON field validation. We'll also need JSON error results, where it's just regular error, maybe like bad request or internal server error. JSON error results, or let's call it response. I'll call this to response. I'll call this to response. Let me create a function, and the function it will have no receiver because I want to be able to use it across the application. So send success response, and it will be of type JSON response, of course. Yes, do that. So we are going to say, no, it won't be that, it won't be that. So we are going to say, so what this we actually need some couple of things. We'll need the echo context, and we are going to need the um the message, and of course the message and then the detail. Since it is success, we are not accepting the success attribute. We are certain that for sending out success response, our success will always be true. So we can say return c.json, right? And http dot status equals to OK. Then we define our JSON success response. So success will be true, and message will be message passed, and data will basically be data passed. So I will make this okay. I think we are fine, and this will return error, just like our handlers return error. So we also need a function to sell function. So I'm just trying to use my my code editor. So send failed validation response. It will accept message. For this, what this will accept is errors. Failed validation will accept errors. The errors will be of type handlers, an array of handlers dot validation error. I don't think we need the message here. We already know what the message is. So for this, we send the success as false. We send the errors as the error sent to us, right? So okay, so okay, this should be an array. Thank you. Okay. So we also need a generic method for sending out error. Send error response. This we are going to need a message, and it has to be a string. So for this, all we need to do is say success is false, and we are going to send the message based on the message sent. Let me see, JSON error message. JSON error message, we don't need this. So JSON error message, right? We probably do no longer need this guy. We no longer need this guy. So that's how we send error response. Then there is also the common ones that we use, bad requests and all. So we can say send bad requests response. And we know that, so for example, for this one now, for validation response, what we are supposed to send is unprocessable status, unprocessable. That is, the data that is given to us is not processable. For error, it can just be, so for error, the way we are going to do error response, we are going to give the room to actually send in the status code, and you will know why very soon. Status code, and this will be an int. This will be an int. So I'm just going to use this as status code. So what we can do is, so for sending bad requests, we know that all we just need to do now is return send error response, passing the context, passing the message, and passing the error as status, HTTP status bad request, right? Then there is also not found, send not found, not found, not found, not found, not found response, and this will be not found. Sorry, HTTP status good, not found. So the message of this, I don't think we need. Okay, let's just accept the message. Yeah, like so. For now, I think we are good. We are going to increase it as we move on. So then we are going to go back to our auth, and instead of sending this, we are just going to say common dot JSON error response. No, sorry, common dot send bad requests. We are going to pass in the echo context, and we are going to pass in the error. The same thing goes for this guy. So this one will be sending field validation, and we'll be sending the validation errors to it. Let's see, context. This is it complaining about? Can I use validate? Okay, so we just pass this in. Why? Okay, so let's edit this. It is accept pointer as we are, as it is being passed. The errors will also be pointer, right? Why is that failing? Why is that failing? Coming. What's under request? Correct. Okay, this should be like, how come is working now? Okay, it's not working yet. So this needs to go in here, and this needs to go in here. So that way we are passing, just like we are passing our validation error. That is correct. So the last part is status. We want to send common dot send success response. We are going to pass in the C, We are going to the context of the application, then the message, which is user registration successful, successful. Then we are going to pass in nil for now. Send for validation response. We did not define the message. Let's say the message will be validation field, correct. I think we are good. So let's restart our application. Okay, we are getting some error. Import cycle not allowed. I think I know why. Okay, so this is what we can do. Let's move this error. Let's move this out of here. And let's move it to here. Remove handlers. Handlers. Let's go to the validation part. We'll say common. That's validation error. Right. Common. That's validation error. And this also common. That's validation error. Okay. So what we've done is we've moved the validator error. We've moved it into the API response part of things. So that way we are able to use this across the two and we are not importing into different places. So let's refresh. Now our application is rolling. Now let's send. Now, brilliant. You can see we are now sending a very nice formatted response to the front end. So if we pass this email, let's make our email valid. Let's make our first name also valid. First name, and I'm going to call it Lee. It's a comma. So let's send in a wrong. So you can see that this is really formatting our response really nice. This bad requests is formatting is really nice. So we need to do this. Send. Now you can see we are getting a 200 okay. And when we actually sent in something wrong, we are getting our 400 bad requests. So these are the response helper. So another response helper that we can create is one more is response helper to actually send out internal server error. So I'm just going to copy this and send internal server error response, and this will be status internal server error. So so we can easily use this, for example, here. Let's quickly test it. Let's rerun our application and refresh. Now let's send in a wrong stuff. Now you can see we are getting that 500 internal server error, but we are not going to send internal server error because this is due to the request being sent into the application. So it's actually send bad request. That is what we are going to send right now. So that will be the end of this session. I hope you've actually enjoyed it, and I hope you will be able to create very nice response helper in your applications going forward. See you next session. Please do not forget to actually share this with your friends, your colleagues at work, so that they can enjoy this nice content with you. It is really, really nice. Thank you very much.